god. I've got some great things in mind.
Yeah, I got a few ideas.
Something changed.
Can you hear me now?
AirPods. I can see AirPods now. Richard's AirPods. Oh,
Can you hear me
something's
now?
changed. Oh, buddy.
Is
I
that
can
better?
hear you.
Do they
That's
sound crystal
fucking
now
infinitely
compared to
better.
the
So, like, it sounded like you were sitting inside a fridge before.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
the audio sounds like I was sat inside an airport terminal.
Yeah, that was fucking
Pop
awful.
these bad boys away for another rainy day.
I can tell you one thing though. What a fantastically smooth fucking start to this.
Oh, flying through. Oh yeah,
So, first official Sid and Rich Do Life podcast.
yeah. We're off to a good
Yeah.
start. We're all set up.
All right. So, I think it's probably best to introduce who we are. So, I'm Sid,
I'm Richard, or Rich.
and we decided to start doing this podcast. Really, as a means to an end, because we can't do the vlogs at the moment
No,
because something's going off in the world. Apparently, I've heard.
yeah. There's rumours going around that it's dangerous to be outside. The air is poison. We've not had much contact for a while, and I think it sort of bubbled to a head when we were thinking of the vlog series recently. And well, what's the thing that you can't quite do with a camera? What's a step down from a vlog, I guess? And that's a podcast.
Discount blogs.
Yeah, it's a socially distant vlog.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, the concept behind it was when we were discussing it. The concept is that we get together every Wednesday. We have a catch up and try and get that out that week as a podcast for people to listen to if they want, but primarily for our own sense of satisfaction, and we can listen back to this in years to come and just laugh at our stupidity, our general stupidity.
Oh yeah, that's it, right? Like my favorite thing, looking back on all the videos, other than knowing that they single-handedly made us famous millionaires, is just how timeless they are. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. I literally can't go to get fuel anywhere without someone talking about those vlogs. I mean, I can't do that because that never fucking happens.
It's easier now that we can't go outside because the air's poisoned, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
literally can't go. It's like that. I don't know if you're ever a Mitchell and Webb fan. They do
I've watched bits of it.
They do like that apocalypse.
Yeah. Stay
game
indoors.
show. Sandra doesn't eat. Don't go outside.
Stay indoors.
So yeah, that's. I mean, if no one, again, I keep saying if anyone's listening to this, I'm gonna talk as though I assume someone else other than me and you and the people we forced to listen to this are.
Yeah, I think Sarah's gonna watch it.
So, if anyone does listen to this and hasn't searched Sid and Rich Do Life on YouTube, I recommend going there and watching the season 1 of Sid and Rich Do Life and seeing if you like that, because you know, if this ever ends and we ever come out of this time, we're definitely going to be doing that sort of stuff again.
There's been a few things since. Like I don't know if we should spoil it before they watch it. Go watch it now. There'll be spoilers ahead.
Yeah. Pause this podcast. Go watch like 10 hours worth of YouTube. Then come back and listen to the rest of this podcast.
But yeah, it's been some time. It has. A lot's happened.
Yeah. So yeah, that's who we are, why we are, and what we, there's, what we're going to be doing. But there's no real genre, theme, or any.
There's no structure whatsoever.
And if we try to put a structure in place, it'd just fall apart anyway. So
yeah,
we're leaning into that, like I suppose, going into that. Should we go through what have we been up to this last week?
Yeah, can do. Do you want to start?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been inside a lot.
Oh man, so much in common.
like we're living the same life. You know what? Something actually. I'm probably the last person to this party, but I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right,
It,
like, turns out it's a good game.
it,
Never heard
it
about it. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game,
is.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
And
So, like,
it came up. Came up in my radar a while ago, briefly.
yeah, don't know. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption, start playing it. It has the added advantage of being an outside simulator, because it's all set outside. It's crazy. I've never
For all
experienced
I know,
anything
that
like
is what outside is like now.
Yeah, yeah. It's people running around on horses, robbing each other. I hogtied someone yesterday, like in real life,
Oh,
which
okay, good, good.
it's had a big influence on me. Um, uh, yeah, so I started playing that, and I got real into it. Like that.
Well,
Uh,
I really liked the first one. I remember getting the first one as one of I got it on release day back on the 360, and that game captured me for a few months. It was because I didn't have Grand Theft Auto on the system either, so it was that was my sort of experience in an open world genre
mm.
on a console. So everything I've heard about the second one just sort of looks like it brings that and just a million times more.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of just expecting. I was really sort of expecting like Grand Theft Pony. You know what I mean? Like I thought that's what I was thinking.
You
That's
know
what
what
I thought
it
as
is?
well. Yeah. Well, no, I mean that's it feels like it's got more world building. I'm able to, especially in a time where I'm not able to do absolutely anything outside of my own house. I'm feeling like I'm getting to go out on these little adventures and choose paths that interest me. So,
Yeah,
um, in that respect, and it's a beautiful game. Rosie.
it it, it really is. It makes the most of the last gen sort of
Mm.
the power that was behind the last gen. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it does look good.
I walked into town the other day. Didn't even, I just felt like going for a stroll. I thought I'm not going to take the horse. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go for a stroll. In the game, obviously,
Yeah.
not real life, because that's dangerous, as we know. And as I got into town, someone threw a guy through a window, and he's like, "That's what you get for sleeping with my wife." And then the guy got up and like kicked the crap out of the guy that threw him through the window, and was like, "I'm gonna go see his wife right now." And I was like,
Like
that's
the world feels alive, right? Like it's organic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, no, I get that. To be fair, I think it takes a lot for an open world to keep me in it. Like
hmm,
uh, Breath of the Wild's the only one that comes to mind where I've invested hours into it again and again and again,
yeah,
and I can't think of an open world like it. When you look at it on the surface, it's a very barren world that doesn't seem to have a lot going on. But once you're in it, you sort of don't want to leave. When I'm playing like Grand Theft Auto or like a Bethesda game, I feel very overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the world.
yeah. I mean, I love Breath of the Wild as well, and I don't think I've played a game since Breath of the Wild that's captivated me in quite the same way.
Yeah,
That was probably the last game where I literally could not put that game down. Um,
because
I finished it.
it never feels overwhelming. Like I've not been on it for months now, but I feel like I could pick up the Switch, jump into it, and just pick it up while I go for a long poo and just get into the world. It's like maybe it's just because it's on a more accessible console.
Yeah, you see, I nearly got deep vein thrombosis from trying to do that, so I had to stop pooing with the Switch.
I'll wipe when I've done this shrine.
Yeah, just like I went to the toilet, take a Switch with me. 2 hours later, and my
Yeah.
legs are tingling. I'm like,
One of the
yeah,
physics-based shrines. Your ass has gone numb.
yeah, yeah, and I just can't bring myself to put the Switch down.
Like I'll tell you the game I've actually been playing the most recently, and that's RuneScape, old school RuneScape, which I guess is an open world as well. Actually, thinking about it now, but it's yeah, that game is nothing but grind. It's nothing
Mm,
but clicking the same thing 500,000 times in a row so that you can unlock a different thing to go and click another 500,000 times in a row. But
yeah,
because it feels like you're constantly getting something and constantly going from one to the next to then to next, it's like that. There's a constant motivation there to do more, to do something, and it feels like 10 games rolled into one. Um, so I don't
So
know.
I never played RuneScape.
No,
Sort of passed me by. I think I had girlfriends or something at the time.
gross. Miss me with that.
You know, I was probably outside, unlike now. But
Coincidentally, I
uh,
did not. So I played RuneScape.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, some things are better off. Maybe it saved you from some problems. I don't know. Although our lives have had similar trajectories, so I'm like,
Yeah, they have. It didn't.
we
It
learned
clearly didn't
nothing.
save me enough. But
Yeah. Yeah, I watched a good movie. Actually, that's something I'd not talked to you about. I watched. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Tag.
never heard of
It's
it.
got it's got Jeremy Renner,
Oh,
Hawkeye.
okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
should have just said
Sure.
Hawkeye. It's a lot easier to pronounce. Um, and it's him, the dude from Hangover, the dentist dude.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's the one of the guys from New Girl. I can't remember his name. The main dude from New Girl, the bearded.
Yeah, I know who you are. I've seen
Yeah.
enough of New Girl to know his face.
Um, I want to say I think Hannibal. I don't know if you're a comedian Hannibal. I'm sure it's Hannibal. So yeah, it's got Hannibal in it. Isla Fisher. Um, John Hamm. John Hamm's in it. You know.
Hmm.
Rashida Jones. It's a pretty decent cast, and it's not really got anything to say about. And well, actually, I don't know. It's quite a. I don't want to ruin it, but it's quite a nice friendship movie. These movies you're watching, like, oh, friends are important, and apparently they are. So it's a good job we're doing a podcast.
Keep the friendship alive.
If you get a spare moment, yeah, tag you on. It's on Netflix at the minute, so it's
Hmm.
worth a watch. How about yourself? Anything?
So something I did not in the last week per se, but a couple of weeks ago, is I ordered the new MacBook Pro, the M1 chip.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
ordered
yeah, yeah,
I ordered the 16 gig, 13-inch version of that, which should arrive in the next week.
That's your first Mac you've owned.
Yeah, it's the first Apple desktop I've owned.
So
Which
you've got the iPad now.
yep,
You've got the
got
iPhone.
yep, got the watch.
You now got the Mac.
Now I've got the Mac. Or I will
So
have the Mac.
one of us. What?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. I mean, I work in IT, so it's kind of a taboo, and it's definitely
Oh yeah, no.
it's
Any
definitely a
credibility
polarizing
that you've
thing.
had as a IT specialist is just fucking thrown out the window.
There's a reason I'm not sharing it on Facebook.
It's fine, dude. You can come and join the art community, like the kids that sat and ate crayons when they were at school. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, well, I did that, so I suppose I qualify.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I honestly have just fallen in love with everything to do with like what that PC is and what that Mac is, should I say, and what that can do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that sounds good. What's your plan for this matter? Like,
Well,
I mean, are you bought it just because it's shiny, or like have you got a
no,
reason?
no, I actually have uses for it. Yeah, I know. I didn't just buy this shiny object because it was shiny. I was proud of
Fucking
myself,
proud of you, buddy.
and I like waited a whole week after telling myself, no, I'm not going to buy it
Which
before
is
buying
This
it.
is good because
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I
yeah,
always do that. Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna buy this, and I'm like, I'm fucking ordering it as I'm saying that. Like,
yeah,
what
man.
the
Yeah,
hell?
it was just a slippery slope. I couldn't stop. But no, because as you know, in the last year I've been going out and trying to really get into landscape photography or just
Hmm.
photography in general. But when I can get out into the poison cloud that is the outside world,
It's
landscape
that desire to
photography.
document, isn't it? I think it just sort of once
Yeah,
you got
and
that bug bit you pretty hard during the vlogs.
yeah, for sure. It really did, and like in particular, like the actual editing process. At least in these early stages for me, I've not been doing it maybe for long enough to be soured by it, but I really enjoy it. I really like getting stuck into a big editing project. And as I say, I've got two computer devices. I've got my gaming PC that I built years ago that hasn't even been turned on or plugged in for a year. I don't
Hmm.
even know if that would be capable of it. And I've got my my laptop that I use for work, which is a great laptop, but it's business class. It's not got a graphics card in it, and
Yeah.
it's not really built for it. So I've been using that for the last year to do all my editing on on the photos and videos I've been shooting. But it's just got to this point where the more I do on it, the slower it gets, and it just feels like it's just grinding to a halt. And there's a certain project I'd actually like to work on at the moment that I literally just can't do it. It won't support it without being bulky and
Is that our
like
sex
just
tape?
pardon? It is, yeah. There's just so much to cut out. But yeah, I do have a list of things I want to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to talk about the project? Is it a secret project?
No, I mean the project is essentially I want to make a big compilation. I've been flying the drone around for the last year as well, like as well as taking out a camera. I fly the drone and I've been shooting different videos. I've probably shot about. I've got a few things on my YouTube. I just uploaded that are like 4 videos, but I've probably gone out about 4 times as many places as videos I've made. But there's never been enough footage to warrant the same video. So I wanted to do this sort of year in review or best of 2020, if you can say that, of just this compilation of different places I've been to. And because of the pure size of how many different files are going to be there and how large that would be in something like Prem or Final Cut.
You know what to deal with that really well, Rich.
Yeah, Final Cut will probably do that really well.
Final Cut would eat that shit up, buddy.
But yeah, and the other thing is I've been, you know, my sister just had a baby. I've been taking loads of photos of the baby and sort of doing that.
You got a sister?
Shut up. Just loading that many images even into Lightroom starts to crash it. Like Lightroom Classic has been struggling recently, which has just been getting frustrating when I'm trying to go through several. Like I've got several hundred images I want to quickly, because it's of a baby. You know, I can't just discard the images. I want to do a basic level of editing on it.
Those
on
fuckers
all of them.
don't stay still long enough at all.
No. Nightmare. Yeah, brilliant.
So now we're back in the room, which has just been for a massive shit.
No, not yet. The coffee's on still. Not the coffee.
Oh, you're having one of those coffees?
Coffee don't make you shit?
No, like a sort of like a. I mean, I feel like a dad explaining this to you right now, but like coffee is another word for like an enema, where like you stick shit in your shit, and then your shit comes. Yeah, like coffee's another word for that. Yeah.
Coffee's another word for enema.
Yeah. I shit you not.
What Urban Dictionary bullshit is it?
Okay, look, you've got your computer in front of you. Do Google it.
Coffee, enema. This is good to put on my work computer.
You never watched Fight Club?
Organic coffee enema, shipping from UK. Coffee enema, benefits, risks, and more. The type of colon cleanse. So it's just they literally use coffee. It's not slang.
Yeah. Well, you know, going for a grande latte enema.
Yeah, that's what coffee. Because coffee does it. Eases the bowels.
Yeah. But,
you don't actually have to drink it either. You can just smell it, and it triggers something in the brain.
Or you can have it shoved up your ass. You know, it's the idea.
Is that what they do? I didn't read that far ahead.
Anyway.
No, I'm going to ingest it normally. Sorry. That would be interesting. First episode of the podcast is me shoving coffee up my ass.
Episode 2. Stick around. I sometimes like to just rub it on myself and hope it comes through like osmosis or something.
Rub it into the skin.
Yeah.
Oh god, I like the idea of just the cold open and it's just me going. First episode of the
Sticking a tube up your ass.
Oh god.
Well, I mean, at least Sarah knows what we get up to when we're alone now.
Yeah, I think she had a good idea. She can't talk. She's worse with her and Rosie are worse. Like at least we built up to it. I think it took a good few years before we were just openly. You don't think?
See, here's how I remember our relationship working. I got out of the taxi. I saw your little girly shoes.
Oh, that's right. No, it was all this. It took a good few years to get to that moment.
I was like, dude, are you wearing little girly shoes? And you was like, are you the love of my life? And I was like, are you the love of my life?
And then we did it right there in the middle of the
And
Weatherspoon.
then
I
just
remember it to
straight,
this day. Yeah.
yeah, just like fucking pouring maple syrup on each other and shit, really going for it, dirty dancing style. Um,
Which is weird
no,
because Weatherspoons don't do it, so that meant you had to bring your own maple syrup to the occasion. So,
well,
yeah,
you don't carry maple syrup with you, like everywhere.
well, I do now. But I don't
Everyone knows
know.
that like 5 sachets a day keeps the doctor away.
I've only just learned about coffee enemas. Like, let's work one step at a time.
That's what we can do. Like when we can see each other again, I will make you some food. But also, we'll go on a date. Like we'll go out full on
A
date night.
proper, yeah, man.
Like we'll go. I mean, we'll do it as a foursome. Like we'll go out all four of us, and like.
Yeah,
But what will inevitably happen is we'll get a table for two.
we'll get two tables
So
for two
two
in
tables.
two,
Can we have
in
two
two
tables
different
for two?
restaurants.
Yeah, yeah. And two. Sarah can drive, so it's fine. She can pick
Uh,
Rosie up and take her out on a date night. Yeah, no, again, these are things where we sort of, I mean, I suppose that's one thing that's worth including in the podcast is one of the reasons we started this was that we, a lot of conversations seem to be about like, oh, what's gonna happen next? What happens now? What happens
yeah,
when COVID's gone? Like this, when's COVID gone? Like it's just like a big uh, what if or a moving goalpost because we don't know when COVID's going to go. We don't know when we're going to be in a situation where we can meet up and speak to friends and do that. I mean, do the sort of stuff we used to do. So one of the reasons we sort of decided we were going to do it anyway, wasn't it? Because this gives us something to do now that's sociable in the terms of me and you being able to have a
yeah.
conversation.
And
And
I think
sorry, go on.
if a recurring part of the conversation is, oh well, when this is over or whenever this is over. Like, I think that as a conversation generally is quite interesting to look back on as well. Because once you look back on it, you've obviously got that foresight, you've got that hindsight of everything that's happened and what did play out. So when you look back on your naive or your you maybe visionary selves, like you look back on those kind of conversations, like, oh well, that's what happened. That's what I think that's quite an interesting thing to listen to. Like something we definitely did in the old vlog. We'd talk and joke about things like happening in the future. And so when they have happened and I look back and it's like, oh, that's really cool. Like those were two versions of ourselves that had yet to experience the things that we're talking about.
Are we talking about the joke I made about your divorce?
But that is the one that comes to mind. That is absolutely pointless. Yeah. I really wish there were other examples. I know there's other examples in the videos. I know there are. But that's the one that comes to mind. Ah!
Oh man, yeah, oh, that's
But,
funny.
yeah, it's nice. And you're right, this definitely fills that void. It'll hopefully cover over that gap before we can actually get out. Because that is one of the most bittersweet things of the last 12 months. I met Sarah just before COVID took over the world and ruined everyone's social life. And so
Yeah.
that was essentially just as we were getting to this point where the four of us could go out and really make the most of our times together and really create some special memories, the world shut down. And we've had pretty much no opportunity to do so since it first even became an opportunity. So it is exciting for this to lift, and when this does lift, we can finally start getting out and really doing something special, making videos again.
Yeah.
Especially because of how
Yeah.
well Sarah and Rosie do get on. Like, they'll steal the show if we let them too close to the
Oh,
camera.
absolutely. Yeah, I've got no doubt that they'll be more interesting to watch than me and you to other people. I don't know if you've had it, but I've had a couple of people that I've not spoke to in a lot of years, like a lot of years, pop up and sort of say, oh, we should meet up when all this is over. And I doubt that'll happen. I think more people are probably spending time sitting thinking, shit, that guy's really funny. I should probably contact him.
I'm gonna get in with him before he's famous. I can
Yeah,
see big
yeah,
things.
that YouTube money's coming his way one way or another.
Yeah, I actually have, but it's more well, yes and no because I'll admit like I've like spending because anytime there's a coronavirus scare, like you have to spend 10 days, 2 weeks in complete isolation,
Mm,
which even though it's not much different to regular day to day life, it's not like you can go out and see anybody anyway. It feels very different inside.
mm.
And one of the things that always comes to the forefront of my head is I I would love to see these people that I might not have seen for years or even spoken to for years before um, all of the corona kicked off. But now that I can't and don't have that option, absolutely want to like reach out to. But I actually haven't been reaching out that well because I don't do that. You know what? We're as bad as each other. We don't reach out to people, but
They even reach out to each other.
I yeah, exactly. So something that has been in the forefront of my mind is I probably should reach out to these people. So um, just because it is sort of you have a different I have a different perspective on it when it's no longer an option. You sort of you like there's a lot of people I haven't seen just since my wedding
Mm.
2 years ago that I
Like
should
your
probably
wife.
reach out to. Like, oh,
I couldn't help, man.
unfortunately, that's not true. This is getting cut.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I mean,
Oh, ex-wife now. I'm formally divorced, bud.
yeah,
I don't
no,
know if I
no, I
told you.
saw you.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I told you. Yeah. I can finally say ex-wife. Oh, what a dream.
yeah. I mean,
But no,
a lot of my good jokes when that's the only thing actually I noticed when I got divorced. A lot of my good jokes about my wife were gone because she was no longer my wife. Like I used to say,
ex-wife.
you
Yeah.
know, she works at a local pub chain quite well known throughout the country. Um, and I used to make this joke like, oh, you know, like, oh, you guys going home, your missus is cooking you something. Only way I can get my wife to make me something is if I go to this place and pay her. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't have the same effect. Only way I can get my ex-wife.
Yeah, it's like the joke's not funny anymore. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I can no longer make the joke that I've got my wife's boyfriend, right? Or well,
My
my wife's okay with it. Let me ask my girlfriend.
my wife's boyfriend's a real nice guy.
Yeah, I can't make those jokes anymore. I really don't feel like I made the most of that.
Yeah, you executed it way quicker than me and
Well,
my ex ever did.
even then, it felt slow. Like I really wanted that behind me as soon as possible.
I mean,
But
this is something you're not particularly good at planning, but you do execute things quite efficiently. I'm
once an idea is set, I'll see that thing through to the end, or I won't see it properly. Really, but that's just something I have with. It can be a short term or even a long term in the case of the divorce where I was pushing for that thing every single week.
yeah
But it can be like a short term thing, like at work, I won't have lunch until I finish the project or the thing I'm on, like the task at hand, which sort of means that initially I ignored it and just ate lunch at like 4:30. But then HR, back when we had people in the office, started to pick up on it and were like, "Yeah, Richard's not eating. Like we should basically bully me into eating. Like, like they would come over to me and like I wasn't allowed to do anything until they'd see me eat sandwiches.
yeah
And so I sort of had to when I'm at work and I know that it could be a busy week or I've got X, Y, and Z, I will have to like allocate each day to that job and be like, right, we're going to do that then, and we're not going to start this on this day if there's not time because we know we're not. And because it is, I do struggle to put tasks down halfway through.
I mean, we're both in roles where we either have a project or a job that isn't a 20-minute, 30-minute job. It's usually
Yeah,
a job that you can sit down at 9 o'clock with and be wrapping up about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon a lot of the
yeah,
time. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I certainly have. So a couple of times where it's really evident is there are days where I'll sit at my computer and I will not move until I've either finished all my work for the day or I've got to a point where it's no longer acceptable for Rosie to have me sat there still working.
yeah,
And that happens a lot. That, you know, that sort of real sedentary, just down to the level of focus that I have when I'm trying to finish a job. And another one is
Yeah.
forgetting to drink. So Rosie, I just forget to drink. I forget to do everything. So Rosie will actually like make a point of pouring a drink in front of me and sort of handing it to me so that she knows that I'm still drinking. It's God bless her for doing it because
Mm.
I'm really really bad at not
Huh.
I'm really bad at I get real tunnel vision, when I'm doing something.
Yeah.
But when you're on your own, when you're working from home or when you're in the office by yourself, I don't know if you know, but I really struggle to function outside of. I always refer to my computer. I've got two monitors. I've got my all my programs open, and I always refer to it as though I live in the 3D space that is my computer.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's not just like a screen I'm looking at. In my mind, I'm in there moving shit around, and
Oh, okay.
it's like
Huh.
I visualize it as like all the layers of shit I've got going, especially if I'm working on an Illustrator file, for example, and I've got hundreds of layers. I actually can visually sort of see where those layers are in my head, and I'm moving them around and interacting
Hmm.
with them, or I've got another window open so it's like my entire visual field becomes this world that is these two screens, and I don't get out of it because I'm in my mind everything is there that I need, and I become really hyper focused.
It's not quite as visual for me as that. I think at home I'm very different to it in the office. I say I get very easily distracted at home, so I actually find it more difficult to start jobs and start tasks at home. Once I'm in them, that's it. I'll see them through to the end. But in the office, I find it much more difficult to stop the jobs because I'm in the space that I associate with work. And my brain is just work, 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 work.
Mm,
For the most part, at work, I'll take my break. I'll go get distracted. I'll go chat with the engineers
mm,
most days and stuff. But my problem is once I've put my mind onto a job, um, finding that exact train of thought that I was on is near impossible for me if I take it off of it.
mm.
So I haven't. The thing that comes to mind is that I won't eat. I won't think it's time to eat right now. I won't think that I need to take a break because my mind is purely just wanting to finish this particular issue. And I mean, um, it's the same line I imagine in our job. Like mine's in IT, like a lot of problem solving. So in my head, I've got all these things that I've tried, all these things that I could try, just in my head.
Yeah,
And if I go, that's just gone scrambled. Now, be that condition or just part of the job, or like that, it just means that if I start a task or I have a problem, I have to really just mentally allocate and decide: do I have the time to deal with this right now, or should I dedicate this fresh afternoon to it? Because I won't put it down when I'm in the office, especially until it's done.
mm,
Fortunately, the majority of things I do are very small tasks that I can just sort of bang out and
yeah,
get done. A lot of as and then, but I get what you mean about like you become hyper focused and that becomes the only thing in your head.
yeah.
But it's not quite as visceral where I'm in this 3D mindscape of my
Well,
desk.
one
But
of the problems is you're not taking LSD at work, Rich. If you-
that's true. That's true. That's why I don't do much at home.
I've always, all problems to me are visual. So if everything's got parts, and you can sort of deconstruct things visually. And it is my job is to give visualization to concepts. That's be that a web site that needs to be built, an idea that someone comes with, or a poster that someone needs, or a video that needs to be made, or an animation. All these things that I do are me bringing a visual representation of someone else's idea, or my own idea. So that's kind of, to me, any problem has a inherent link to a visualization, and I suppose when I'm working in that space, it's I've got a screen in front of me, but everything's happening in my mind, and in my mind, the world that I live in my mind is very fleshed out in my head, which makes it difficult to break out of that, and it's been more difficult for people to break in when I'm in that zone, because I'm
Yeah.
in a different world. Again, I suppose this is another thing with, like, being in lockdown. Like, I'm noticing more and more is that, like, I'm not that good at facilitating other people. I wish I was better. I mean, I'll give you an example, and I find this fucking hilarious looking back on it. But, like, in the moment, I was like, "This is the most serious thing I could be saying." So we had the psychologist, which is even more fucking ironic. I'm making myself a drink at the water cooler, and she walked into the canteen and said, "Oh, hi Sid, like I've not seen you for a while. Do you know anything good?" So my initial and inherent and every fucking thought in my head was just like, well, yeah, I know a lot of things that are good, but nothing that's immediately relevant.
Good talk, good talk.
And being a psychologist,
Backs away.
being a psychologist, and a fucking wonderful human being that she is, she knows not everybody's wired the same way. But she said, "Well, I'm not interested in relevance." And I was like, "That's fucking mega." I was like, "Well, one second, let me just filter through some things here." So I was like, so I literally had to like take some time. You're gonna the punchlines come in because like I'm taking some time. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm having a baby girl in 3 weeks." So like that would be like a normal, like if someone's like, "Oh, like how's."
Is it 3 weeks?
It's literally like 3 or 4 weeks away. Yeah, yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, like we've done this entire podcast and I've not spoke about the fact that I'm going to be a father again, 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 and like it's just I'm perhaps not thinking about it a lot. I don't know, but like I am. I mean, as you talk about it, my
Yeah.
wife's heavily, heavily pregnant. I've put an absolute elephant inside of her this time. She's eating Ritz crackers like they're going out of fashion. I know for a fact that we're having a kid soon. However, that is not of immediate relevance to anything. That like in that scenario, I'm making water. I know a lot of good things going off in my head.
Wait. Yeah, you're at the water cooler. You're not in labour. Why should you mention it?
Exactly. Like, but I imagine that normal. Well, I say normal. That's obviously normal's relative, but I imagine that people who find social interaction a little bit more intuitive probably would be like, "Oh, yeah, did you know that I'm 3 or 4 weeks away from being a father again?" Like, I imagine that wouldn't. I imagine that the process of conversation wouldn't have to go through. Well, actually, I know quite a lot of things. What would you like to know? You know,
Pick a topic.
yeah.
Spin the wheel.
Give me some. I've got an archive back here. Let me work through it. Like, I got an SG in December, Gibson SG. So I'm playing it. I'm like, this is not. It's not interesting. It's muddy. It doesn't sound very good. So like, right, fuck it. I'm gonna take this guitar apart, which is not a massive task, really. But I'm gonna put some different pickups in it. I had to sacrifice one of the tone knobs, so that went. And I put these EMG James Hetfield pickups in there. Tuned it down to E flat, D flat. So drop D flat. So it's like some songs like pop punky songs and like, or for a friend songs that I like to play in that tuning, and I'm playing it, and it's fucking mega. So I've done all these things like that. To me, is good information if you like guitars. But this woman probably doesn't like guitars.
Yeah.
So I know lots of stuff, but like you're gonna have to give me some. You're gonna have to point me towards what relevant interest that you might have, and I'm assuming most people don't have to do that.
Uh, don't know. I've never really thought about it, but like, um, I know I'm prone to missing the obvious. Like if somebody asks something, I'll name something really stupid and niche when there was like something staring me right in the face the whole time that I should have just said. Like, and it's only afterwards I'm like, oh, and this is happening, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like they've gone. I've bored them to death with something completely irrelevant. But I don't know. I find when someone asks like, what's good, what's going on, like it's such a broad question that you immediately forget everything that you've just done in the last like 3 weeks. You just immediately it just leaves your brain. You're like, what am I? What have I done?
I think I've got
my mindscape just becomes this void, and I'm in it.
I've got a disliking and misunderstanding for the utility of small talk. You know, like
Yeah,
yeah, I think in my perfect lockdown world where I don't have to see people,
yeah,
small talk is a non-essential day-to-day function. However, it's something that it's a social sort of lubricant, isn't it?
yeah. I think it really comes down to like how invested the person who's asking about what's going on actually is. Because like you can have some people you ask them and they'll actually want to dig deeper and they'll genuinely take interest in the things that you mention and it will become more big talk. But
Yeah. I mean, that's the
in
thing. I
99%
think
of cases, it isn't
most people just
that.
don't give a fuck. Like, I genuinely just think most
Yeah,
people don't care how you are. And if you genuinely, and I mean, I think again, she is a psychologist, so I think she probably knows not to ask how are you because no one's going to give you the proper answer, and especially when you're a psychologist, no one's going to give you the proper answer
Yeah.
to how they are. And I don't think there's a person in this world that thinks and assesses their emotional state on a minute by minute basis that has the answer for how are you, which gets asked at least 16 billion times in this country if you fucking interfere with someone on their walk to the toilet or something. So,
Yeah.
it's such a I want to say unnecessary, but it does serve a function, and I am utterly fucking terrible at it. Uh,
Yeah.
and these are things that I definitely, I'm becoming more and more consciously aware of as lockdown sort of forces me into my comfort zone on a daily basis.
I'm not huge on small talk. I don't think I'm very good at it because I don't know the right level of detail to give people when they ask
Hmm.
how I am and what I've been up to. Because somebody could, it's in the same vein where like they could ask you when you said like, oh, I've been doing JavaScript and all this. Like you want to sort of that's what you've been up to, that's what you're passionate about, and you might want to share. Like, I never know what the right thing to say is. Like, because you just go, oh yeah, I'm good, thanks you, and it's like, what a pointless conversation this was because they're obviously going to not tell me if they're not good.
Yeah, the energy
'Cause
the
that's not.
energy required to have this
Yeah,
conversation is utterly fucking wasted.
yeah. But as I say, there are some like there's some people at work who will ask me like how's things been, and then like they'll ask like about Oliver and stuff, and it's like those are the conversations I like, and they originate because of small talk. Like small talk leads to me maybe mentioning Oliver, and then their genuine investment in Oliver leads to an actual conversation where like we sort of exchange stories about our own kids and stuff. And I think that's sort of where it finds a nice place,
See,
like a
I'm,
nice
I'm
middle
glad you said
ground.
that because this is where I always, again, when I reassess, because I always reassess every conversation I have with someone, sometimes days afterwards, just to break down whether or not I did anything wrong, and
Mm.
usually I do. So I'm glad you said that. Like you'll ask them, but I always forget that part. It's just that I've missed the social cue where it's like, oh, well, what about you? Like I just fucking
Yeah,
missed that. Like
yeah,
it's like what happens. It's like it happens. It goes past me, right? The social cue,
yeah.
and then like 2 days later, I'm like, oh fuck, you know?
Well, just completely blanking any excuse.
Yeah, just kind of fucking just like honestly, if I could animate it, it'd just be like the ship sailed and me just standing there blinking, like I completely fucking missed it. And like, so to me, like these ideas, like again, I visualize them, I find them funny, and like I want to talk to you about it. Like, oh, I've
Yeah,
really, something
yeah,
that's made me chuckle. I want to share with my friend. And to me, I'd rather us be doing that every Wednesday than being like, so did you know that this murder happened in blah blah? Like, we're not
yeah.
stuff you should
Because
know because like we're stuff you should probably
we
not listen
we
to.
tried that, didn't we? We tried like a podcast sort of thing after the videos,
Yeah,
and I was supposed to edit it, and probably that's why it failed because I
immediate
still got all
hurdle.
the footage, just sat unedited.
Speaking of
I think
unedited as well, we have got the lost episode.
you've got the last episode.
It's,
You found the last
I
episode.
mean, I edited the lost episode.
Yeah,
Um, and I was
yeah,
thinking about this the other day because we haven't spoken about it over the phone because of we were supposed to sit down and do this. So my idea was
yeah,
that I do want to release a lost episode, but I want to do this first. I want to give this a couple of
yeah,
times. So this will go up on our YouTube as well. This will go up on all your podcast places, Spotify, all that sort of shit. And we'll find out if anyone's bothered to listen to us, which again,
yeah.
I could care less if they do.
Whatever,
I
isn't it?
don't, if
Just a bonus.
you and I said this, I don't know if it was you I said it to or Rosie, but I was like, if you've got such poor taste that you find us entertaining, that's your own fault. Like this is not for us. Like if you find this shit funny, I'm sorry, buddy. That's on you. You clicked on this, not me. Um, but like if people do, if we do end up with those people that are like, oh, these people are, they find a home with us, that'd be great.
I
I want to
I am somehow invested in their lives now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like, okay, well, it'd be nice like once we got a couple of these out, be like, oh, the we're going to do the premiere of the Lost episode, which we're
Mm,
not talk about now because obviously this is going to go out.
yeah,
I don't want to no spoilers, but I wouldn't say it's in the line. We from well, how I felt about it was we'd done Amsterdam, and Amsterdam was so much fun that
yeah.
it felt like a real lackluster comparison to Amsterdam.
The place we're in right now compared to where we were start of 2019 is just it is completely different. We've got the time. to do things now. We have the means to actually carry out the plans that we had, that we were brewing throughout that first season, that we were hyping up for the second season. We actually have now the option to do that. The only problem is we now no longer have the option to do that because the world shut down.
And obviously, as soon as
But
pandemic's over, our lives are going into fucking turmoil again, no doubt.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't have both.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think, and I suppose another thing again, the reason why we did all this, and why we're doing this vlog, this podcast as opposed to being able to do a vlog, is, you know, we're now sat waiting. We're like two dogs at the fucking
Yeah,
gate on a fucking race day, waiting to go out there and do some content and do something together, and do something not just together, but to bring new characters in, to bring Sarah in, who's a wonderful person, and to bring Rosie in and have her be on camera a little bit more, rather than me
yeah.
just making pop jokes at her, which I will do on camera still, and she will use that in court as support for a divorce with me, I'm sure. But like,
You learned nothing about making divorce jokes.
oh no, I'll make divorce jokes all day long. I just can't wait for you and Sarah to get married so I can make those divorce jokes as well.
Well, I suppose it's your turn.
Keep tag, you're it, buddy. Oh shit.
Oh god, this better age well.
Oh god damn it. I mean, the only way but personally, I see me dying before Rosie divorces me. So I mean, and that's actually, so I suppose that's something we haven't spoken about. So in 2018, I had, and this is still unresolved. I had an episode where my legs, I don't know if you remember, my legs swelled up,
Yeah,
and I had to
yeah.
go to Doncaster Hospital, and I was in the hospital for a little while. And the answer they gave me was just, some sort of virus or inflammation. Basically, we don't know, but your legs swelled up. And since then,
Thanks, Doc.
I started feeling really fatigued, unwell, out of breath, stopped putting more and more weight on, and just generally being a little unwell. And 2019 was the year where things started to spiral a little bit more. So not only did we have this, you had your commitments and your responsibilities. Rosie we was on the cusp of having our first child together, and as I'm doing that, I'm getting more and more progressively ill. So more and more chest infections, which is something I struggle with a lot of the time.
Yeah, and
Feeling generally fatigued.
and I remember, I don't remember, like one of the actual key motivation when we first started the videos, perhaps very naively, was it was going to be like a fitness vlog. We were going to, these videos like were a strong motivation to keep ourselves fit. It was like, I believe in one of the videos you even state, like, it was a way for you to hold yourself accountable for how much or how little exercise you're doing. So obviously when that stopped, that sort of just chucked onto the issues, because that was a key motivator to get out. Like we'd have days where we just didn't want to go out. We didn't want to go to the gym, or we didn't want to go on a bike ride, or like for a walk.
Or even
But,
just go for a
knowing
walk.
that we had to film a video that day, and like knowing that we'd have something by the end of it, like got us out there. That was like the final hurdle.
Yeah. The end of 2019, so the New Year's Eve of 2019 was just set up for how shit 2020 was going to be. I don't know if I told you exactly what happened, but I was watching a comedy with Rosie. I sat on the sofa, and I started laughing at Ramesh Ranganathan, who was nearly responsible for killing me, because he's a fucking hilarious dude. He said something, and I laughed and coughed, and as I coughed, I started to choke and eventually lost consciousness, and I had a small seizure, and which really scared Rosie, and she rang an ambulance.
Understandable.
Oh, I mean that's one of those social cues. I think I understand that one. You're supposed to be scared in that scenario.
Yeah, she did the right thing.
Yeah, she didn't just like watch that and go by. She rang an ambulance, and ended up getting taken to hospital. Had pneumonia, which is a wonderful fucking late Christmas present, I suppose. And it was the first time in 2020, I suppose, New Year's Eve 2020, when I got pneumonia. And I got pneumonia. I also got COVID. I've from weight or from whatever other underlying cause, I've developed palpitations, high blood pressure, sort of consistent pains in my left side of my abdomen, which this is all fucking very depressing, I understand. But this is sort of what I'm dealing with at the minute, and we're trying to get to the bottom of what is causing all this. Um, and yeah, so for me, I suppose even doing the podcast and this real I've got a strong drive to go out and create again. Is I want some fucking record just in case, and it sounds bleak as fuck, but just in case something happens, it really would be worthwhile
Well,
having
yeah,
having something, you know.
absolutely. And that was like, I think the fitness thing was definitely one of your key motivations with the first set of videos. That exact thing right there, that wanting to document things before something drastic happens or you just don't know. That was what got me so interested in doing it. I was going through a thing at the time where it's like I don't document anything that I do. I don't take photos with friends. I don't take videos. I don't capture anything physically. I don't capture any memory physically with people that I care about. I really don't, or at least I didn't. And so that the vlog series to me was just that this will be timeless. This will be something that has absolutely no limit on its value. This is me capturing what could never happen again, what may never happen again with people that I may never see again.
Yeah.
And that sort of caused a chain reaction where I started to do that with other things in life. Like I really started to capture every moment as much as I could. Like I've done a thing since 2018. This is its third year. I will every 3 months. It started every month, and every 3 months now I will sit down in front of a camera, and I will talk about the last 3 months of my life and how they went, compared it to, and then go with what I want to do in the next 3 months, and then compare what I said in the last video to how it's gone. Like, and I've done that as a direct result of these videos because I think it's so important to capture the things whilst they're happening, because you can't rely on your memory to really bring everything
I mean,
back. You
it's the
can't
true essence of
can't do
a
that.
vlog, isn't it? It's a video log. Like that is literally,
Yeah,
um,
it's a diary entry.
yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah,
Well, that's what I hope these will inevitably be. This is why I'll never try and overly structure them, and I'll never try and there's no for me. There's no reason doing this for anyone's entertainment value. If someone does listen to it and enjoys it, fucking excellent, wonderful. But it is conversations
yeah,
between me and you that we can capture for prosperity, for ourselves, for looking back and fucking touch wood. We'll be able to do it for lots and lots of years.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I hope so.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
um, not
absolutely.
that I'm planning on fucking dying, by the way. Just so you know, like I'm fighting this.
I don't think you could. I don't think you're capable of planning it, buddy.
Well, I'll fuck it up. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Uh,
In fact, you planning your own funeral is probably going to make you less likely to
it'd
die.
be like that.
I,
Have you seen Anchorman 2?
yeah.
Where Brick's there going like he was a wonderful man. It's like Brick, you're alive. I'm alive. Like, it'd 100% be that.
You planning your own funeral would extend your lifespan
Yeah,
considerably.
yeah. I think, especially at this time in my life, you have these like, oh, this is quite scary. I'm mortal. I will fucking die one day. There's no two ways about it. I'm overweight. I need to lose weight, and I need to work on that, and I need to do things that are perhaps out of my comfort zone in order to do that. But I need to look after me because I've only got this one fucking flesh sack to walk around in. I ain't got a spare in the cupboard. I've got nothing. So you gotta look after yourself. You gotta look after your health, and then the more you think like that, like I've got to look after myself, I've got to look after my own health. I've got to be here for my kids, and then you're like, well, actually, shit, I've got to look after the people I love, like my wife, and to really embody this idea that like everyone that you care about is super precious. Like, there isn't another
Yeah.
Rich. There's not going to be a backup to that. When if anything happens to you, I'm fucked. Like I said, I've got like two friends. Like I can't really afford to lose you. I'm the 50% right there. Like I'm fucked.
Eggs in basket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So and as previously mentioned, I'm fucking terrible at communication. So I'm not gonna. I, I say this to Rosie all the time, and I'm gonna say it to you. I say fucking. It baffles me that you care about me as much as you do, and it baffles me that Rosie loves me as much as she does, and it baffles me that you love me as much as you do. Because I don't know, and I suppose you never really assess, and this is not anywhere me blowing my own trumpet, but you never know what you give people. Like you don't know I don't know what you value in me.
Yeah.
Likewise, you perhaps don't know what I value in you. But
Yeah.
You better know. You better know it yourself. You need to know yourself what you value in others, and appreciate that, and be grateful for that, and respectful towards that. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned from lockdown so far is if you don't really, really fucking hold on to what you've got and appreciate it and treat it like it's precious, because it fucking is. You've only got one of everything. But yeah, it's you gotta fucking hold. And this is to me the whole point of this.
Yeah, I firmly agree with that. And yeah, it's being. I've never been this. I've never felt as isolated as I've felt the last year, and as I'm sure millions of people have as well. Like, 'cause I don't know. You do like isolation will do that to you when you go from suddenly having this option to go out, see friends, to explore new places every week, and then you're suddenly just thrust into this position where you don't physically have people around you anymore. You do find yourself forced to look at the other less literal values in people, and as you say, it should go without saying, but it doesn't necessarily happen, and it's very easy to take it for granted. And yeah, you're right. Like lockdown has just, I think, forced people to really look at their friends, their family, the people that they care about, in ways other than just physically seeing and hanging out with them, like in the literal sense, because you can't do that now. That has been removed,
Yeah.
But they haven't. They're still there, and their value is too.
Yeah.
And going forward, I think a lot of people's perspectives would have changed. Mine certainly has. And so I don't even remember what it's like to be able to go out on dates properly with Sarah and see friends properly, and I barely remember what that's like. And the fact that we used to do that with that's the thing. Like the fact that we actually, when we could do that, recorded it, just makes that so much more precious, because that's something we could easily have taken for granted.
Oh yeah.
And now be looking back on like, oh gosh, I wish we'd made more. But like,
I mean, we do actually wish we made more. Like,
we do wish we made more. But I look back on them and go, well, that is like that. The things we were doing there, the things that we were going out, seemingly mundane things, because it wasn't like other than the Amsterdam video, it wasn't like we were doing anything crazy. Like we were just doing normal day-to-day things, like to a boot sale or going to a bike convention, like nothing out there. But now you look back on it, and that is truly, like, those are truly special things to do. You cannot do those things right now.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that it is just a time capsule of our loving and beautiful friendship, but just the actual activities themselves were.
Could you imagine the bike show? Now, this seems completely.
It's not happening, is it? No.
It seems completely fucking like it'll never happen again. Like.
Yeah.
All those people crammed into a small space. It just does. It seems like suicide now.
Yeah. And at the time, that's not even what we couldn't even consider that being a valuable part of the video. Like, wait, really? Just like that as a bike convention is now just that feels even like that feels like as special a part of the video as anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's just things that we clearly we can't do now.
Sort of like
clearly would have been taken for granted.
A document of the old times.
Yeah, pretty much. But like from a very street level, very natural perspective.
Yeah.
Very grounded perspective, I think. And it is really special. And I can't wait to be able to do it again and create more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we've done this, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again next week. So.
Yeah, likewise. And I think all things considered, this has gone pretty smoothly like for the first week. God knows how it'll come out, but I am really excited to see how it comes out. I'm really excited to sit and listen to it, see what Sarah thinks. Doubt my parents will listen to it.
I really
hard enough trying to get them to watch the vlog.
Listen to the cold opening where it's like, and this is where I get an enema. Like, so fucking no, get out of the house.
Like, we've seen enough.
No, it's wonderful, and I suppose every week I'll sign off the same way that I sign off a phone call with you, which is love you long time, dude.
I love you long time, too, man.
And I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Oh my God.